Years to sisters in Christ. Fake in the past?
No, you weren't. But it was like, I mean, not fake, but like, we went through a rough time. I mean, because okay, when because you okay, because when you first got your when you went through your conversion or whatever, I was the first one to talk mad stuff, and I was like, oh, like what's up with this girl?
Oh,
like,
so you mean like you're fake? The friendship was fake.
no, meaning we stopped talking.
I knew you before I even got pregnant with Damien. I got pregnant with Damien at like 15.
Exactly.
Exactly. So we're talking about 12, 13. We're talking about Ovidio.
Yeah, that's 13. Oh, how sweet, you know.
We knew each other through church, but we both went our separate ways from the church, from Jesus.
Funny, because we were friends before, like during church, and then not when we were out doing crazy things. Well, not crazy, but yeah.
I think God did that purposely.
I know, which is so crazy.
I feel like okay. What's funny is that I was in my walk a little bit, like a couple months ahead of you. And there was a whole debate, a controversial debate about politics and stuff like that. And we're not going to get too into that right now during the podcast. But it's something that gets a lot of hate. And I usually stand up to the truth, and especially I back up a lot of truth. And then Natalie was like, no.
I was like, no, because she put, okay, we're not gonna get into like details of it, but she basically posted something on Facebook, right? And I remember vividly, like, because she started posting a lot of things on like social media, and so when she started posting that, I felt some type of way because I don't know, like, it's like inner when you, because during that time I would get so, like, even if I would see a car sticker with something about like Jesus, I would be like, like these people again, like the religious people, because obviously
trying to get people to go to the church.
yeah, like I was always one to be like,
Oh my God.
if you guys only knew. Okay, but I was always the one where, yes, I firmly believed in God and everything to be with, you know, God and all that stuff. But my problem was mostly like religion. Like that was my issue. And so Natalie had posted a Facebook thing, and I remember, you know how like on Facebook you can react. I put a laughing emoji, so she knew that I was like, ha ha ha! Look at you posted this
That's the
silly
thing.
stuff.
You know what's so funny?
And so
I
many
got
people did
so
that.
much hate for that post.
She did.
I got so much hate for that post, and the first thing I did was pray for these people. And I
No,
promise you, Natalie's not the only one.
No, there was a lot.
After months showed an interest in God, and I was like,
No, but it was a lot of people that they would comment,
lot.
and you know,
I
mind
had
you,
so much hate. But
yeah.
you know what's funny? Like, like Natalie was laughing, right? But me and Mary and Jesus, we was laughing because little did I know it was gonna be her turn to be Jesus crazy, just like me.
Yeah. No, I remember I laughed at that post, right? And then, like, even so, because she kept posting stuff, like, on Snapchat, Instagram, and every time I would, like, look at him, like, oh.
Roll eyes.
I would be like, oh, like, here she goes again, like, this girl, like, how is it that she was just, because I didn't understand how, because I remember she would post stuff about, like, you know, certain things that she did, and I would be like, how is it that you can just be doing that and then all of a sudden like you turn to God? Like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't understand it.
Would you just sparking a blunt like last month? Like,
yeah,
girl.
I literally was like so confused. I was like, all right, like, why is she acting? Like, what is she doing? Like, why is she doing the most right now? Like, how, like, please, like, you go to one retiro and you think you're just gonna change? Like, stop. Like, I literally was talking the most crap. Like,
and literally, like, I literally like prayed for all of my friends. Like, I constantly had her in my mind for like 2 to 3 months after we had spoken, because we had a conversation on Snapchat. And then 2 or 3 months later, she's like, hits me up out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I thought she was going through something, because usually that's why people hit me up if they're going through something. But no, she was like, oh, like, I have to tell you, I just came from a retreat and this and that, the third. And God literally went and took your heart and made it his, like, for real, for real. Like,
no, and it was crazy because I wouldn't think that I would, like, okay, I had so many friends. I'm not saying that I'm like, oh, I have like a bunch of friends, but I had so many friends that I could have like talked to, and the one person that I happened to reach out to was Natalie and be like, oh, like, you know, I started because I don't know when I reached out to you first, but it was before the retreat. It was definitely before, because I was in Colombia. I was in Colombia like on vacation and stuff, and I was like partying my life away, and then that's when we got into the debate about that topic, and then all of a sudden, I don't know. I felt like the need, because when I was in Colombia, I was with someone that they were very like atheists, like they didn't believe in anything, and so I don't know why, but months before I was already wanting to get back, and I think seeing Natalie in her post and all that, I was like, like maybe there is something there that I'm missing or something, and but then at the same time, again, it was like a religion thing with me. It wasn't God, it was a religion thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Now, like, we're really close and stuff, and God has glorified himself throughout our friendship, like from the beginning to like I think until the end.
because we usually go to, like, I remember one time, and I will never forget this one time, because we went to adoration and we just sang for like what, like 3 hours, like, or 2 hours, like,
But the
singing,
funny
singing.
thing is, like, when we got there was mad people, and we went with the intention of
Yeah.
singing to Jesus,
And then Natalie,
but we're
like,
shy, like we're so shy.
And then Natalie telling this girl, you know what? No, can I say it?
No, but don't
Why
say
not?
it because no one needs to know.
Fine, whatever.
But
so basically, she embarrassed me in front of this. Come on.
I did not embarrass you.
You did. Come on, let me tell the
No,
story.
no, I didn't. Basically, okay, so basically there was this group of people,
Old
and then
ladies.
old ladies, yes, you know, like the old like
Mhm.
church Catholic ladies that
Yeah.
are there with their
Like
rosaries
60s.
and everything,
Mhm.
60s, 50s. And so then I was like, God, what are we gonna do? And then literally, the woman was
Because
talking
she
about
said-
how she
because
was
she's-
sick, and then the other woman was saying how she didn't
Yeah.
have a ride home. So I was like, oh, you guys can leave. Like, me and her will
Yeah.
stay until whatever person comes in next.
And she said that she knew that because obviously I don't like to do things in front of people. She's like, oh, I know this girl isn't going to want to sing in front of all these people. Because that was the plan, that we're going to go and sing. Like, that was established. But then she had to give counseling advice over here. Because one of the women, right, she was like, oh, she was like, oh, you know, like, I've had pain in my hip, I think she said, right, or something like that. And so we were like, oh yeah, like, I don't know, we were talking or whatever, and they sat down. Actually, they sat down to talk to us, and they started asking if we had boyfriends or husbands or whatever. We're like, oh no, like,
Jesus,
just
we're married
Jesus.
to Jesus.
And then
Well-
Natalie at first, like, she was really good with it. She was like, oh, like, ofrézcaselo a las, you know, adios a las almas, and the souls or whatever. And then she started to come out the cut and think that she had a psychology degree and tell them otherwise. But and then the lady, even after she heard that, she had to sit down, and so she sat down. Remember, she sat down after.
Which is crazy because, like,
It
we
didn't
went
feel-
with the intention.
Yeah.
And little did we know Jesus was going to surprise us and
Yeah.
stuff. And, like, he always does that. Like, he always does that. The first time we ever went to a
Mhm.
chapel together, we went and there was, like, nobody there.
There's never. I don't know why, but it ends
Every
up.
time we go together, there's
Every
nobody there. But, like, mind you, if I go by myself, I don't know if it happens to you. When I go by myself, there's other people there. And I'm
Mhm.
never able to sing alone. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
No, when we go together, usually either if there is people there, they end up leaving, or people end up coming, but at the like when we're done, when we're done, because that day that about a month ago, I think we went,
mm-hmm.
and
That's a long time.
we went and
Yo, no, listen. Though, okay, God also uses us to stop each other from temptation. Over here was going straight for a flight to temptation after we left the chapel. Specifically, we were gonna come to my place, okay? Me and the girls, because we were not alone. We're gonna come to my place and we were gonna have fun. And little Miss Red Riding Hood over here trying to find the big bad wolf popped a tire on her way, and I had to come rescue her. And that's how our angels, guardian angels, are probably friends. I gave permission for my guardian angel to be friends with her guardian angel.
And me too. Okay, so basically we're like in adoration. We're in adoration. I don't know what got into me, but I'm saying like the enemy, like he be doing the most. And so basically, but you know what, that time I don't even want to blame the enemy, because
here has an amazing idea to lie to me and tell me, oh, my cousin had a huge emergency, can't go no more. Mind you, the other girl doesn't have a car, so I'm like, oh, okay, like cancel plans. I'm gonna go drop her off or whatever.
And this is after like we really, because that day, okay, we always go and sing, right?
No, we were in intense prayer that day.
That day we were in intense intercession prayer. Like we were really like asking for a lot of things. That's why I felt the worst because I was on my way home, and then
we were literally asking for the youth, for their strength against temptation, and all of this. Like,
but I forgot to ask for myself.
Yo,
we asked for people to kind of take care of God's creation, the universe,
all of this stuff.
We asked for so many things, and so I was like, oh, good. And then actually, before we were about to end, Natalie was like, okay, like let's go, and I was like, oh, like not yet. And then she was like, no, come on, like we can go to my house or whatever. And so I was like, okay, like let's go. And so we were in separate cars, because sometimes, you know, we'll be in one car, like I'll leave my car like at her house and then we'll go. But that day I made the mistake of like just being in my car, and so on the way I got a text message saying that, oh, like you want to like, you know, you want to hang out. You want to hang out.
No, but let me tell you something.
Not a sneaky link.
Okay, it's not a sneaky.
It was
just like 2 a.m. and it wasn't sneaky at all. She didn't have to lie to nobody, you know.
Okay,
it was an official.
But I told her, I sent them a text, and I was like, hey, like, you guys, I'm so sorry, but
my cousin had an emergency, guys. I'm
have
so
to go
sorry.
Help him.
Can't make it. Yeah. I have to go help my cousin.
Yeah.
Her imaginary cousin. And mind you, the other girl. Okay, so Natalie calls me. This is like literally like 5 to 10 minutes after we leave the chapel. I'm already at my house because I live like right there. And she's like, Natalie, she goes, are you with anyone? I said, no, are you okay? I'm like, what happened with I'm over here thinking she's about to tell me her cousin died or something. She's like, Natalie. And I'm like, what? Mind you, we're both named Natalie. So I'm like, okay, sis, like, come on. And then she's like, I lied to you. Me iba a juntar con un chito. I'm gonna go. I was like, pues si te pica la cuca, was like, I was like,
no, this is the thing. I called her. I call her, right? And I'm like, Natalie, I was like, I have to tell you something. We're talking about. I was like, are you with anybody? Because I knew that she had gone with Dorcas to her house, or like, I don't know, they were together. And so then I was like, oh, I have to tell you something. And I was like, me iba a ir a ver con un bicho. And mind you, like, I never talked like that, but like that day, I was like, I have
Se le salió toda la salvadoreña, todas sus dudas, todo.
And then Natalie was like, because she was so like, because we had such an intense prayer, so she probably assumed like this girl's gonna go do the rosary, like everything. And so, mind you, like, this is how temptation gets you. So then, but what's crazy is that when I was driving, I didn't hit a pothole. Like, my tire just popped out
of nowhere. I don't know, like,
what
nowhere.
Happened.
And that
was like,
God don't play.
Natalie, y que te pica la cuca vos. Que te pica la cuca. And I was like, no, pero es que. She was like, no, Natalie. She was like, right now, you're going to send me your location.
And now I have it notified that when she leaves her house, it notifies me that she has left her house, because I don't play about my friends and I don't play about the people around me. Because if I know she's in a walk with God where I know that if she fell, she's going to be upset with herself, and she's going to... That's why God gave us friends.
And you know, part of that, like, why, like, I guess, like, it's important, like, the story is important because I guess, like, when you're in your walk with God, everyone thinks that your life is all of a sudden perfect and the walk is easy, and it's not. Because everyone thinks that as soon as you convert and you have your conversion and your encounter, that everything is gonna be just roses and at the same time, I think I value the temptation because it shows me
you
that
have to.
Because it shows me that I'm not just anybody, because if I was out in the world, I probably wouldn't be getting temptation because you can do whatever you want when you're in the world. But when you're on your walk with Christ, it's different because it means that it comes to like a sense of like obedience and more like it not just obedience, it's just the whole thing of loving Christ and loving God and loving your creator. And if you love him so much, you don't want to stray away from him because the more you stray away from him, it's kind of like you just you're just like you're showing him that you're not really fully into when you're into a guy, right? You're not fully into him if you're looking at other people, clearly, right, in the first couple months. And so people think that everything is so perfect and then you have to act that way, but temptation does come, and it's hard because that's not the first time, and it's been temptation with other things too.
Appreciate most about the youth today in the church that we tend to not hide that. I know very few, but like within my friend group, we don't hide that. Like I don't have friends that they haven't told me like this is what I'm struggling with, this is my temptation.
That's the whole point of us. Like we're obviously, since like Adam and Eve, right? They messed it up for us. Not really, but okay.
I mean,
they
but
did.
like that's the thing. Like,
but that's the thing.
People get so mad at Eve.
They do.
They
but
get
we're
so
Eve.
mad at Eve. But then, let's see, there's a guy and you see a big boom bomb come through you. You're like, like. Let me just look. There's nothing wrong with looking, God. There's nothing wrong with looking.
No, literally.
Like,
but it's just the fact that obviously when Eve, and the whole thing with them was the disobedience, right? Because God was trying to test their loyalty, and they didn't follow through with it. Because he gave them one single, basically, law that they had to follow, and yet they didn't follow it. So he was trying to test that loyalty that they had. And because of that, right, we lost our relationship with God, right? God the Creator, God the Father. And now it's kind of like it's a whole thing of everyone blames Eve, like you said. Everyone does this whole thing of like, oh, because of Eve we have our periods, because of Eve this, because of Eve that. But like at the end of the day, like we're all Eve at some point because we're always messing up. And we know that since that happened, we lost the grace that we once had with God. And so we basically died in the spirit. Because that's why we have to get baptized. That's why we have to do.
And that's why Jesus came, because and redeemed us, because he sacrificed himself. The Son of God sacrificed himself so that we could be with him.
Redemption is, I think, people fail to realize that was what opened up the doors again to heaven and for us to have that relationship again with God. And if that didn't happen, like we'd kind of just all be wandering all over the place, like just silly.
You can't be afraid to let go of those people because God has so much in store for you. Like God has so much in store. Like the friends I have now, I could say like truly are my friends. Like if I was on my deathbed, I know they would be in, if they're not next to me, they would be in prayer somewhere and their spirit would be right with me.
I think that was one of the hardest things for me was getting rid of my love for, okay, because I still really like Karol G, right? Let's get into that. But when you're
I used to talk ish. I was like, this girl really thinks she's Karol G.
Really? You did? That's like so like rude.
Girl, you talked ish about me.
Yeah, but not bad.
With my walk with God, who does she think she is?
Wait, what would you say?
About what?
About me.
I'm gonna just be like, oh my God, that girl really thinks she's Karol G. That's it.
She's lying.
No!
I can see it in her eyes. I'm a psychologist. I mean, No, but let me tell you,
She is a psychologist.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're a mind reader.
But let me tell you, so when I was on my walk with God, when I sent her the text when I was like, when I was like, oh, this happened to me, blah blah blah. So along the way, I was asking God. I was like, after I got out of the retreat, I was like, oh my gosh, God, like please, like, don't take this away from me. But I knew it was coming. Like I knew it was coming. I was like, please, come on, like it's
Tell
not
me
that
how
bad.
I prayed about it.
And bro, when I tell you,
I prayed about her love with Carol G, guys.
So annoying. And so, anyways, so then when I was on my way, like when I was on my walk, I still liked her. I really still like her. I think she's out of all the kind of artists that there are right now, I think she's one of like the really good ones because I didn't meet her through her music. That's the thing. I met her through her, like through an interview that she had, and I really liked her foundation and everything. Okay. So then through my walk with God, I started to get into a lot of like worship music and a lot of just other music in general. And then I was like, no, like God, please, like no, not this. Like don't take this away from me. But it's not that he took it away from me. It's more of so like he made me realize certain things. And my walk with Christ is just far more important. But that was the one thing that I was like, man, like, why did you have to take this from me? Like, I really struggled with that one because I was like, because I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Since the moment I stepped foot out of the retreat, like, I knew that was coming. Like, I think there.
Yeshua.
How did you get from the point where you were to the retreat?
My mom.
Because a lot of people, they don't want to go at first.
Nobody wants to go at first. I said this in my last podcast. No one's ever ready. No one's ever ready. Stop making excuses and just look for him and continue to look for him because that's going to solve your problems. Mm-hmm. It's like every time I hear certain people brag about the same problems over and over again, it's like you got to go to God because that's the only person that's going to fix it. Mm-hmm. No one else is going to fix it. And I've had to walk away. Sadly, I've had to walk away from people that I loved and loved them from a distance because there's only so much that you can physically do for someone.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But you could continue to love them spiritually. So continue to pray for them, to continue to fast for them, whatever your heart and spirit calls you to do. But sometimes there's certain people that you have to discern and let go because they can affect your walk. They could affect a lot of things. The people you surround yourself with are very essential and important with your walk with God. You can't just allow anyone in your life. Mm-hmm. And I think that's my biggest thing is like I'm so weak when it comes to a relationship.
Yeah, she is.
I'm very weak. Like, and I don't know. And then I grow apart from God for like 2 weeks. Or my last relationship, I fell into sin. And that's when I basically like opened doors for insecurity, evilness. That's when arguments started happening. And God was very specific in the beginning. If you don't have me in the middle, and if you don't continue, and if you love someone over me, it's not going to work out.
Actually, like when you first got there. Because when I first got there, I was like, I told my aunt, I flat out was like, Tia, like, ya me quiero ir. Like when we didn't even get into the building. When I was like, no, ya no. Like, I no, please. I was so scared.
I'm not gonna lie. I've had my first experience with the Holy Spirit was probably when I was around 12 or 11. And God indicated to me very specifically that I was never going to find love if it wasn't in him, and to stop looking for love in the world because I was never going to find it because I was his.
But when my first encounter with God was like when I was like really, really young, like because I used to be an altar server. So I always had that in me. And I remember one time because my mom went to a retreat. She went to a retreat with the same
people that Natalie went to. So, and I was around, I want to say I was around like 12, 11, 12, and I had to serve that day. But my dad at the time, he, my parents were together, and my dad, he didn't believe in the Catholic Church. He was like Protestant, so he would just drop me off and then like dip basically. So I was there by myself one day, and I kneeled because the altar servers, they kneel down when they do the consecration of the Eucharist. And I remember I kneeled down, I looked up at the Eucharist, and I started to cry. And like, because I remember, because my mom, because yeah, sure, I was with my dad, but like my mom was the one person that like I knew that she was there. And I looked up at the Eucharist and I was like, okay, like, God, like, please, like, I know that you're with me. Like, I started to cry, and I didn't know at that time why I started to cry with the Eucharist. Like, I didn't know, but there's something so like, yeah. Yeah, now it makes sense. But I started to cry, and but kind of like I didn't want to show people that I was crying, so I just like looked down like this, because I was the one that I was like the main altar server like at the time, because there wasn't a lot. And I remember being so like, I don't know, fascinated, because like, sure, like I went to school and stuff, and I remember being so fascinated with church, that I wanted to know Monday if like it was my turn to serve Saturday.
It's so bad, because when God chooses you, it's like you're a little nerd for him. Like
You
you
are.
are, and it's like
Mhm.
it's like, for example, my friends will be like, "Oh, let's go out, let's go drink, let's go this, right?" And I'll be like, I kind of just want to be in a chapel and maybe have a movie
Yeah.
night with the girls, and
Like,
just like,
But here's the thing,
you know,
it's not
like,
that it's bad that you drink, because here I
it's
am
not
drinking
it,
wine, you know what I mean?
it's not, it's
But
like, again, God puts order in your life. There's
yeah,
too much of something is always unhealthy, no
right.
matter what it is.
And
So,
like, it's like one thing where you're like, because you drink with moderation, but the friends that I used to have, at least, I think we would drink. It's not that we would drink too much either, but we would be like out like at 3 in the morning, and I'm like, okay, like now I think about it, and at 3 in the morning, I'm in deep sleep. I'm dreaming. One time that I had, one time I did wake up at 3 in the morning. It was crazy because God was asking something from me, right? And I remember, like, I went to sleep, right? And I was like, fine. I was like, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna think about this anymore. And I got up because I heard I like, and it's crazy because in my dream, I think it was in my dream where I heard a voice that woke me up, and I got up so quickly. Like, when I tell you, you know how like you because I sleep like I be sleeping like on my side, and I got up like this, and because I heard someone tell me, Natalie, res bueno, en español, ¿verdad? Natalie, respóndele al Señor. Like, that's all I heard. Like, Natalie, respond to the Lord. And I woke up and I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, what do I do? Because I didn't know what to do, because I knew he was asking something of me, but I was like, whatever. Yeah. And I was like, and then I went back to sleep, and then all in my head, it was like over and over and over. It was like, you are mine, you are mine, you are mine, over and over. Like, and I don't think I can explain that to someone unless you have lived it, because it's crazy the way that it happened. It was so crazy, because I know that we're not usually, people don't hear God's voice audibly, because it was more of like a woman's, like, I don't know if it was Mary, I don't know what it was, but it was something so like to the heart, that it was crazy. Like, it was crazy. And then the Eucharist and all that, oh, it was insane.
no, mom, I'm diagnosed with anxiety. And I was being so like bitch. And then she was like, just wait. And yeah.
No, it happened.
Mind you, in that retreat, I got the gift of peace.
Yeah, she said in her first video of the testimony. You should go watch it. The way that I used to describe like the gift that I have. The gift that I have. I asked someone. I was like, oh, I was like, so say I have a friend, right? Me and her are like this. I was like, say that friend got a gift, but she's scared to use it. And then she was like, so she's your friend. And like, because I get scared to say I received a gift, because receiving a gift from God is, you shouldn't, it's like it's like something, because he's choosing you, like, to get, because he doesn't just go around and being like it's money, like giving it to everybody. No, he picks you for a reason. Like, if you receive that gift, it's for a reason. It's not like that he just gave it to you because se le dio la gana.
Yeah,
Like,
there's different
no.
gifts. There's really, like, me and this girl have done the rosary, and you could feel it, that it's not like us.
It was so
So funny. We were dying laughing, like, while praying the whole time. It was honestly kind of nice. Because,
One time that happened to my grandma and my aunt. And
it's always like when you're mad serious, or
no,
like.
it always is. My grandpa told them, they were like, "Usted se va a ir en el infierno," because they could not pray it. And then one time it happened to my mom too, my mom and my aunt and stuff. And then my mom was like, "Oiga, no el diablo," because they were like laughing the whole time. But we finished it. We ended up finishing it. But it was just like laughing the whole time. But it wasn't like that we weren't taking it seriously. That's not the thing.
Yeah, it's not that we were laughing at the rosary.
No,
it's like we
just
were
laughing.
Like, it's.
And we didn't even know why we were laughing, because I would ask this girl, ¿Y qué te da risa?
Yeah.
Serious. And she would be.
You even questioned if I was high.
Yeah, I asked her, I was like, "Natalie, are you high?" Like, because not that that's an issue, but I was like, "Are you high? Like, just be honest." And she was like, "No, Natalie, I'm just laughing." But at the same time, it was good. I think I really appreciated that moment, because we were both going through difficult times.
For example, when you have to, like, leave somebody in the past, and you go through, like, this sadness, and then, like, it's like God allows you to cry, to be depressed, to feel sad, but then, like, he lifts you up and he's like, just trust in me because I have something better. It sucks.
I think I went through that a little bit of it. Well, okay, which is funny, because I would, like, I don't know. I guess one time I was in the car, and I flat out told God, right, in the car, because in the car is where I have most of my prayer time, which is crazy. Maybe that's why so many things happen to my car. But but I remember telling God, like, I flat out, because so I got back from a date, right? And the guy was amazing and everything, and he was all wonders. I mean, he walked a little funny, but everything else was fine, you know. And I was in my car, and I told God, I was like, "Oh, please, I don't know what's wrong with me. He's a great guy, but I know this isn't gonna fulfill me." And I told him, crying in my car, I was like, "If I have to go through another heartbreak, I don't think I'm going to be able to stand it." I literally told him that. I flat out, I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I know that I'm not going to be able to stand it. And it's going to be too much for me. It's going to be too much for my heart. So I want you to lead me the way." And mind you, like, at this time, I wasn't really too yes, I had a little bit of encounter, but I still hadn't gone to the retreat. And I told him, I said, "I need you to lead me the way where I'm supposed to be, because this is going to be too much for me, and it's gonna
Mommy, can you make me some tea?
bro." It's like, this is going to be too much for me. So, and then, here I am. He leaded me to the retreat and all that. So,
That's crazy.
it was something, like, so crazy. And I think that's one of the moments where I really value. What's crazy, in the preaching, I walked out in the preaching. One of the preachings, you remember the debate that we had?
Yes, the debate that we had. I was brought up in the teachings, and it was.
It was brought up.
It was brought up, and she left and went to the bathroom, and then there were speakers in the bathroom, and you could hear the preacher.
But you know what? My mom the other day, she was like, "Natalia, ¿estás segura que eso pasó? Or it was just like that God wanted you to hear that?" She's something. It was about that thing. I don't know.
Jesus.
Okay, but point is that Natalie, I don't know. Okay. The point is
Okay, stop.
okay. So basically, I was Oh yeah, so I heard that teaching and stuff. You shouldn't be embarrassed, cause when I first had my conversion, I feel like embarrassed.
Why would I be embarrassed?
No, not you. Just in general. I'm saying.
Oh.
I'm just saying in general. Because when I had my conversion, I was like, I wouldn't say I was embarrassed, but
This
I think
girl, she's-
I don't want to say ashamed or embarrassed, but I was very hesitant to share that because before I went to retreat, I told my friend, I was like, I'm gonna go to this spiritual thing. When I come back, we're gonna go to the club. Don't let me say no. If I say no, drag me. I don't know, do whatever you have to, but I don't want to change. I don't want to change because I'm living such a good life right now.
My biggest fear is like changing into this girl that was goody tissues
Yeah.
and the woman.
That's the thing.
But it's like, no.
Yeah, so I told my friend, I left those plans made and stuff. And then when I went to I went to retreat, came back, like when she would share stuff, right? She would just share stuff because to share stuff, and to
that's the thing. I'm an open person.
yeah. And
I'm not reserved.
but I mean on Instagram.
I should be.
No, but yeah, I told her that. Because the things that Natalie was sharing out, it did make me think a lot about where I was in life, And so, don't be ashamed to invite people, to spread the gospel, to share what you know, because a lot of people are in the world because they don't know any better. Are we in the frame? Don't be scared.
Love one another as
forgive.
Jesus said, love one another as I have loved you, or as you love yourself. So yes.
Record this again. This
Bye,
is too
Esco family. Say bye.
Oh, bye. I'll see you again in 2 years.
Okay. Click the